So I've noticed that the more agreeable of a person you are, if you tend to just agree with every single point that somebody makes in order to avoid conflict, even though you disagree on the inside, but the only reason why you're agreeing is to not have some sort of tense vibes with that person, or you just don't want to hurt the other person's feelings, the less people will take you seriously, and the less value you bring, and the less that people will take your point seriously about anything. You'll also eventually get disrespected more because you just always just want peace. You're just a little peaceful Pete, always trying to agree with every single point that somebody makes. If you're with your significant other, your partner, and you guys are having an argument about something, and you just say, yeah, I agree with you, yep, yeah, that's true, yep, this and that, and you do this all the time, it can go both ways. One, it might infuriate the other person, or two, the conflict's done right there. But I've noticed that it's better, in my opinion, to just, as you get older, it's better to just agree. It's better to just, because your peace is more important than anything else. But when I was younger, I thought that, you always, at a certain point, you just always had to disagree with other people. But I think it depends on the topic. It depends on certain things. If it's something that you really, really, really stand for, and that person is saying something of the opposite, then you got to make that judgment call of whether or not you want to say something about it, or you want to disagree with the topic. It could be about religion, it could be about politics, it could be about whatever. But I think what's the most valuable thing for us when we get older is peace. We want our peace and well-being. That's the most important thing. And a lot of the times, man, people are just looking for a fight. People are just looking to argue because they got nothing better to do with their life. They're looking to provoke you. They're looking to start some sort of way to just piss you off. And the strongest and the best retaliation is to just not react, to just be like, you know what, you're right, yep, okay, I'm a dick, I'm an asshole, whatever, okay, and just move on with your life. But then the dynamics changes when it's with someone that you see on an everyday basis. It could be your parents, it could be your significant other. You see them on an everyday basis. So chances are you may get into an argument at a certain point because you see this person every day. Why do you always leave the dishes uncleaned? Why do you always stay at home and not do anything? Go out and help us out with the groceries once in a while. Or why don't you take the kids out or something? Honestly, man, do not. It's honestly the best way to counteract this is to just stay calm and just don't let your emotions get to the better of you. Because when you get angry and when you disagree with the person all the time, it just creates tension. It creates a lot of stress, and it can also ruin relationships at a certain point. But if you're able to stay calm and collected, and if you're able to just take action and just do, instead of just looking for a fight, because a lot of people just like to look for drama. A lot of people just like to vent out in frustration to somebody, and especially the people that they care about. A lot of people like to vent out their frustration, and they expect you to not retaliate with that same amount of energy because it may just make things worse. Some people just need a shoulder to cry on. Some people need someone they want to be heard. They want to be listened to. And if it's someone that is like, like as I said, your partner or someone that you care about, they expect that from you. Um, and you shouldn't let whatever they say get under your skin. And it's very difficult, of course, because if you see this person all the time, But aside from that, in general, um, I've been in situations where I'm literally just like I was in a I entered a sauna once, right, in a gym. And I brought my phone into the gym because there were no lockers around, and I was in an area where like I wasn't familiar with. I was in London, England. And so yeah, I didn't have a key to put my phone in, so I brought it into the sauna, and then this guy just who was sitting to the right of me, he started to just like have this argument with me out of for no reason. He's like, "Yo, so is it because of the color of my skin? You're prejudiced towards the color of my skin, yeah, because and that's why you brought your phone into the sauna." Just some stupid shit like that. He's just looking for a fight. He's expecting a reaction from me, and he's assuming that I am weak. That I, because in the beginning, you know, he was kind of like the sauna police. He's kind of telling you, when I went inside, I was wearing like, what was I wearing? I was wearing like shorts or something. And then as soon as I go in, about like 10 seconds later, is that same guy. He goes into the sauna. He's like, "Hey man, you can't do that. You gotta take off your shorts, right?" And I was like, "What the hell?" Okay, so I went outside and then I took off my shorts and I was wearing underwear, obviously. And I understand that you're not supposed to wear clothes into the sauna. So I kind of understood that rule. And I guess because of the fact that I wasn't sure of the rules, he thought he could take advantage of me. He knew that I wasn't from here because of the way that I spoke as well. And I brought my phone in there too, after, and he was sitting there, and then he just started to try to have an argument with me, and I did not let him get to my head. I just sat there. I was like, "Bro, I can bring it. It's my phone. Whatever I want to do with it, whatever I want to do with it. And there's nothing racist about it." That's what I said to him. And anyways, he sits there and he tries to continue talking, and I just ignore him. Right? And I realized like this guy's just like bored. He's looking for someone to fight with. He's looking for an argument he's looking just to start an argument with with somebody. And he saw me as a victim because he thought that I was unsure of myself, of the rules, and I'm not from here, so he thought that he could like try to mess with me. But I held my ground, right? So I stayed calm. I didn't react. I didn't like get angry at him. Stuff like that. And anyways, that's just an example, but all of us are gonna come across these situations where people just want to have a fight with you. People want you to say like fight with you and stuff. They want you to start an argument with them, a debate. They want you to start a debate with them, especially over these topics, which could be about religion, politics, business and stuff like that, which are like three big controversial topics that most people like to talk about. But don't fall into this trap. I'm going to say it again. Don't fall into this trap of feeling obligated to respond, of feeling obligated to have to protect your points, especially with like random people. Because we feel like we need to satisfy our ego, or we need to prove to people that no, this is wrong. And the thing is, the funny part is, when it comes to a debate, when it comes to disagreements, a majority of the time the opposing side will not agree with you. So what is the point of having a debate when a majority of the time people's opinions are not going to change? No matter how much you try to give them valid facts, no matter how much you do this, a lot of the times that person will not change. There are times where they may think about the stuff that you said, but it's very rare. Most people, even if they don't like to feel wrong, they don't want to be wrong. They don't want to, because they don't want to look like a fool. They don't want to look like an idiot. So a lot of the times people will never ever agree with the stuff that you say. So but and then they just want to look for arguments, and they just want to look to just to, you know, some people just do it for content. You go online, you're gonna see all these like speakers corner, you're gonna see all of these debates, places where people do debates, and the majority of the time the opposing side does not really take in what the other person is saying. And it's very rare where you actually see intellectual debates amongst one another, you know, where the one side is actually quiet, listening to their points, and on the other side, and it's equal time. You know, 10 minutes, 10 minutes, 10 minutes, 10 minutes. It's very rare that you see that, you know, because it's usually like people who are not very skilled in debates and you know, stuff like that. And people, as emotions get to their head when they take it personal. So people start getting offended, and you know, but this is why I say that it's better to keep protect your sense of peace and well-being by not putting yourself in these situations, by not letting people get into your head, by not getting affected by words, you know, and to always you know, have your own factual information, and to just be like, you know what, you're right. And sometimes when you see these content on YouTube and stuff like that, especially of like people who are trying to preach certain things about religion, a lot of the times you know, they say certain things in public in order about another religion in order to get a reaction out of them, so that person can purposely use their emotions and to argue back against the person who's speaking in order to create content. And it's a very good tactic, actually. You know, maybe a Christian is starting to say certain points about Islam or something like that, and someone who is Muslim hears those things and they know that what they're saying is not true, and then they decide to approach this person and have a conversation with them. And a lot of the times in the beginning, they want to have a civil debate, but the person that triggered them will start to say certain things that are false, that are not true, or that could be reworded or reiterated in a way that sounds offensive in order to trigger a reaction. And once that reaction is triggered, then an argument occurs, a very big argument, and that's content. That is content for views, right? And I just feel that, you know, you can do whatever you want in your life. If you want to go approach someone and have a debate with them about certain topics, go right ahead. But I just feel, in my opinion, that your peace of mind is the most important thing, that you don't need to prove to random people. You don't need to prove to anyone about your own views on life. You know, you don't need to prove all the time to people, man. What matters is you versus you. And if you are a believer of God, it's your personal relationship with God. That's the most important thing. And you know, yeah, it's crazy that we live in a world where it's not even, aside from religion, like there's so many other topics where people just like to fight about and, you know, disagree about, even about the smallest things. And I feel like the smallest things that people argue about are the most annoying things. You know, like, oh, wow, why did you wear your hair? Why do you dress like that today? Or you know, why did you not say hi to me yesterday? Why did you not text me good night last night? Why didn't you do that? And then it starts into a whole argument if you let it. If you let the other person affect your emotions, then it's game over for you, man. Then they have control over you. And a lot of people, they just they know how to trigger you, man. They know your weaknesses. A lot of people know that stuff about, if you're a very nice person, if you're a very kind person, there could be that one person that knows your weaknesses, because kind people, you know, may get taken advantage of. That and especially people that you're close with, they know a lot about you, so they could take advantage of you in order to trigger your emotions. But anyways, thank you for watching. I really appreciate you watching this video, and see you next time.